the reality is nothing bad's going to happen to you. It's all self-created. It's all self-imposed. It's all your own self-sabotage. The only reason those fears are there is because you keep them there. And because it's limiting you, then you create more of the reinforcement and the momentum around the old identity, and you don't want to stay there. You want to let go of that, and that's why I'm calling it the Great Surrender. Hi, my name's Steve Martile, and today's video is about the Great Surrender. I'm wearing sunglasses because there's a little bit of sun coming in, and you might pick a little bit of background noise, but I just thought I'd shoot this anyways. I wasn't going to shoot this, but then I decided, what the heck, I'm going to shoot it. This is too important not to get the message out. So this video is about what I'm calling the Great Surrender. But let me just set the context of the stage of this. So there's kind of 3 different types of human beings right now living on the planet, and they're all in different stages in their evolution. So there's 3 stages. I'm gonna call them A, B, and C. Okay, so A are people that kind of like, normal people that we all know and love, that carry a lot of baggage. They're the ones that carry the most baggage, in fact. And when I say baggage, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know what I mean by that. I mean anything that creates limitation, right? Any definition, limitation. These are 3D frequency level human beings, and they carry a lot of baggage. It's not a judgment, it's where they're at, right? It's just where they're at in this kind of 3D physical incarnation. The second group is B, and the B people are people that carry a less degree of baggage. And when I say baggage, I actually mean a baggage, something that you're actually carrying, right? You're carrying with you, and it's the past. You're just carrying it with you. Could be from this life, could be some traumatic event. I mean, life's not easy here, right? So it could have been anything. You could have had a financial struggle at some point. You could have had a bad divorce or separation. Whatever it was, you have some context from that creates some very heavy emotions, and now you have this baggage, okay? That's basically what I mean by baggage. And so there's these 3 groups. Group A has the most traumatic baggage. Group B has less. They're like kind of mid-tier. They're probably people that, like you, who watch this channel, like you know that you're still growing and you're still improving, but you also know you have some stuff, some crap, some fears, some definitions, beliefs that don't serve you, that are creating limitation in your life, and you know that because you don't feel that you're living to your full potential. Okay, so that's group B. And then there's group C. Group C are the people that, they've done the work. They've been doing it for a long time. In fact, they don't have any baggage, if any baggage. And what's great is that they're the ones that actually are the most free. Okay, now let me come back to the Great Surrender. What am I explaining? Again, this is just my observations. Doesn't mean this is true. You don't have to believe me. These are just my observations of what I believe to be happening right now. So you've got these 3 groups, A, B, C. A carries the most baggage, B is mid-tier, C, no baggage. Why does C have no baggage? Is it because they're lucky? No, it's because they've ascended to a certain point where they're not living necessarily they're living 3D. They're living in this 3D world, but they're not living at the frequency and vibration of 3D, meaning they're not living in a state of polarity, a state of fear, a state of opposites, right? It's like whatever shows up for them there's no opposites. It's just what's happening. It's just they're still at peace with it regardless of what's happening. And Michael Singer talks about this in Untethered Soul. There could be a point where if you're in this C category where someone passes away, someone even close to you, there is some loss, but it's very short-lived. You grieve very quickly, and then you're back in peace because you realize that from this model and standpoint of perception, this point of view is that every soul is actually with you to support you even once they pass on from the physical 3D incarnation. So they're still there. You can still access them. You can still get support, right? So you don't feel that loneliness. You don't feel that loss at that level because you realize you're connected to them on another level, another dimension, another frequency vibration that you can connect them at any time. That's C. Okay, so C, A, B, C. I'm going to come back to why this is important in a minute, and why I'm calling this the Great Surrender. So we're all different levels, right? We're all in either A, B, or C, and we're just going through life doing what we can do as best we can to improve, to grow, to learn from this experience, and then take it into the next experience. But this is what's really fascinating to me. So my personal experience. I've been using this technology, and I'm talking about technology because it's going to relate back to this level of surrender that we're going through. So I'll come back to the technology back in a minute. I'm looking over here, by the way, because I have some notes here. I just want to make sure I get this all in the video. So the Great Surrender is about letting go of the old identity, surrendering to the new identity. The old identity is the person with all the baggage, right? The definitions, the beliefs, the trauma, all that stuff. And on this side is what I'm calling your signature frequency. It's who you really are. And so what's happening right now is a lot of people are cocooning, and they're coming out of the cocoon from the old self and they're becoming the new self, which means higher levels of telepathy, psychic ability, seeing to the future, communicating with the subconscious. Another whole nother video that I can do on that, just that topic alone. But this surrendering, this cocooning, this letting go of the old self and surrendering to the new, what I'm calling your signature vibration. It's who you really are. What happens when you do that is that if you were pursuing something in the old 3D world, the world of opposites, right? The world of good, bad, light, dark, the world of peace, and then, total anxiety and depression, these different waves of emotions that we all get from time to time. The person, like I said, if you're in a C level or even a B level, you don't surrender to those, you don't experience those deep negative emotions as much as someone in the A level, okay? And C, very infrequent at all. You might dip for a few moments in time and then you're back out, and fear is not really common at all because you've let go of those limitations. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're a C person that you're not learning and growing from this being here in this experience. You're still doing that, and you will continue to do that for the rest of your existence. But what I'm saying is that this idea that you're carrying baggage it's not really there anymore. So life's getting a lot easy for you in the C level. Okay, so I'll keep bringing that one up. But if you're in B or A, you may be experiencing a lot of technological breakdowns. You might be experiencing it more hard to maintain your current lifestyle, right? Like where the boss will come in and say, hey, you need to work longer hours and we're going to pay you the same. And inflation's going up and things are getting more expensive. In other words, it's getting harder to maintain that level of frequency, that level of personal identity. And that's what I'm talking about, is that you're being asked to surrender to the new signature frequency and you might not even realize it, okay? It's like there, it might be coming to you in your dreams, it might be coming to you through other people, it might be coming to you through me, and you're seeing it, but you're not acting on it. And because you're not acting on it, you're not actualizing the new frequency vibration. So we're all going through these different layers of surrendering the old identity and coming into the new signature vibration. Okay, that's why I'm calling it the Great Surrender, because I'm realizing that all the processes, all the things that I went through personally over the last few years was about this surrender. Because once you surrender to who you really are, you get more angelic support. And what do I mean by that? I was talking to my editor for my second book, which is coming out later this year. And I said to her, it's like I have a construction crew that's removing the obstacles in front of me before I even get to them. And she's like, wow. And I'm like, that's how it feels right now. It literally feels like I have this angelic construction group. It's like I kind of anticipate, just because the way my brain wires, I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So the way it works is I always think, okay, there's a problem. I think of problems and then solution, right? And I'm anticipating problems in certain things that I'm doing, business, endeavors that I'm, with clients. I'm anticipating them. And when we get to the point where the problem's supposed to be there, it's gone. It's like I said, a construction crew's coming in and removing these big boulders that are on the road while I'm kind of traveling down this path. That's the C-level human. That's the person who has zero baggage. It's literally, and so I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to feel like, in the flow of life, like all of the time. And the reason is because I'm in my signature vibration, which you could say is in alignment with your highest self. You're fully congruent. Every cell is in agreement with what you're doing in your body, because you're always communicating to your cells, right? You're unconsciously communicating, and you're communicating in a way that they're all like saying, yes, 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 this is the thing, this is what you want to do, okay? But a lot of people are not in that situation, which is why I'm shooting this video. It's getting a bit windy now. A lot of people, it's in the fall here. I'm in about 300 miles north of Toronto in Ontario. So it's fall here. It's late October. So anyways, a lot of people are not in that situation where they're in the flow of life, where things are easy and it's falling into place. They don't have the construction crew in front of them removing the boulders so they can move forward. And you want to ask yourself, why? Right? The reason why is because you haven't surrendered to who you really are. Now, this is a process and it's going to happen differently for all people. And don't try to rush it. But what I can tell you is that the source of it is that if it's about surrendering to, maybe a reframing of a certain way you look at old ideas, old beliefs, things that you used to really believe and now you're kind of questioning them, that's good. That means you're moving into this new signature vibration. But here's one of the things I found very fascinating. If you have old technology from the old self, the old identity, when I was doing some business activities with the old technology, it was breaking down, it was giving me issues, it was shutting down accounts. I couldn't understand it. I'm like, this is supposed to be a stable technology. All of a sudden I'm in the signature vibration. I'm using the same technology from the old self in the new signature vibration. It works. So that's what I mean, is that you're that powerful that you're actually orchestrating physical 3D reality in this signature vibration to be at ease, to be at flow, and you have more angelic support, which is what I keep referring back to. The construction company that's working on your behalf, you don't have to pay them. They're there just because they love you, and they're there and to pull those roadblocks out of the way as you move forward. So that's signature frequency, and that's the great surrender. And it requires you to reflect and look at, what do you believe? Why do you believe that? And how do you benefit from your current beliefs? And if once you realize you don't benefit from those belief systems anymore, you'll drop them, and then you're in your signature vibration. It's a new way of looking at the world. It's a new model of the world, which I'm going to talk about in my second book, but I thought I'd talk about in this video as well. So what are some key traits of being in the signature vibration? Well, you feel pulled towards something. You don't feel you need to push to make it happen. The old identity, it's about pushing, right? You hear this all the time. People will use their language. I had a client the other day who was like, I'm going to push to get it done. And it's like, once we got past a certain point, he's realized he's getting pulled. And I was shocked. I was surprised. And this is another thing that comes up with this signature vibration is you get unexpected surprises, as opposed to unexpected loss or failures or things that like cost you money, that you're just like, I had an unexpected situation. This ended up costing more money. And now I'm like deeper in debt, or, you know, whatever. You're just tight on money. That's the old identity. That's this A-B category where you're holding on a lot of baggage. The fact is that there is another version of you, this C-level person I'm talking about, this signature frequency, where you're getting unexpected surprises, more good things coming into you. And here's another thing, another characteristic of this signature vibration, this C-level person I'm talking about, is that you don't have to like really work really hard to be in a grateful state. It's pretty automatic. Which is, you know, for all the things that I've been through in the last, I want to say 15 years, there have been some times where I had some terrible anxiety, terrible fears, crazy dealing with stuff that was from the past and just not understanding why it was happening, when it was happening, and then trying to positively affirm my way out of it. And I'm going to say that don't do that. The great surrender is let it come in. Accept the feelings that you have, accept them totally, and let them embrace them. In fact, like give them a hug, like this is part of you, right? It's an unconscious part of you. And then explore them and just observe and see what shows up, because in that discovery into the unknown, what you'll find is that there's either a limitation or a definition or a certain way you're looking at framing that concept that's limiting you. And because it's limiting you, then you create more of the reinforcement and the momentum around the old identity, and you don't want to stay there. You want to let go of that, and that's why I'm calling it the great surrender. It's because we're all surrendering to this new light, this newfound wisdom, these newfound skills and abilities that we all have at a very deep level that have remained unconscious, buried, and unused. But you're starting to, and this is why the timing of this video is so perfect. We're all going through this, and it's starting to reveal itself. So, and that's another big reason why I'm going to be promoting and talking more about my second book, because that's the stage that the majority of, you know, humanity is in right now. This first level A person who's holding on, it's got a big sack of stuff from the past, big baggage, a lot of weight, weighing them down. They're getting tired. They don't know if they can continue. They're going on, but they're kind of just, it's a snail's pace. And you have to have empathy for those people because they're at that stage. You can't change that for them. That's their soul contract. That's their agreement. Now, it doesn't mean you can't share information, inspire them to a better way, but it's for them to realize the truth about who they are. And that's what this is really about. And then the second group is that B group, which is, you know, not totally a lot of baggage, but you're still carrying stuff and you've been working on yourself for a while, but you're not quite at the point where you've got all that baggage. You haven't let go all of it yet. You're still holding on to a little bit of it, probably because of fear, because some sort of fear-based definition, something that you believe that if you do let it go, then something bad's going to happen. Maybe it's the fear of the unknown. And the reality is nothing bad's going to happen to you. It's all self-created. It's all self-imposed. It's all your own self-sabotage. The only reason those fears are there is because you keep them there. And so our job at this time is to detach from something, you know, like, you know, for example, if you're in business or if you're in a career and you're like, you know, the project manager, someone at work's like, you know, this needs to happen. And you're like, this needs to happen. And you're pushing to make it happen. That's the old way. But there have been moments in time where you would be like in the flow. It's you surrender. The ideas come. You don't have to really try. You just got to show up. And so you know what it's like to be in that kind of fifth dimension space. And that's what I'm saying. You're in that transition. You're not at C, you're not at B, you're kind of in the middle. Sorry, you're not at A, you're not at C, you're at B. You're kind of in the middle. And there's a few more things that you need to like either learn or discover about yourself, unconscious self. Once you accept those and realize what they are, then you can let go of them and move on. And the reframing begins, and the new definitions, new beliefs, and you'll see the world for what it really is. And once you see it for what it really is, then you can be your signature vibration, the power, the God source that you really are, and inspire others. And then this creates this wave of momentum because more and more people are realizing this signature vibration, that they're, a piece of God. And then they start to actualize more and more people, which gets things really exciting. I don't think we're there yet. I think we got a few more years before we get to that stage. It might be even decades. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But I do know is that once you get into this signature vibration, you're not doing things because it needs to happen. You're not in fear. There's no like scarcity. You're more like doing something. And when someone asks you why you're doing that, you say, well, because I know it's what I'm supposed to do. And there's this knowing. You're at, I watch a lot of Star Wars. You're at the Jedi level. Because you know. When do you become, a Jedi? When you've done it. You just know. And so when someone asks you, why are you doing this? Why are you pursuing this? Why do you eat that type of food? I know it's good for my body. I know this is what I need to do. It's not I think, it's not I believe, it's I know. And now you're operating from God's source, right? You're operating from the thing that's connected to all things. So I hope you found this useful and helpful. We're all going through this great surrender. Please have empathy and compassion for people that are not at where you are. It's not about levels. It's not about like they're less than or more than you are. You are enough as you are. Maybe that's what some of you need to learn and discover, that you are enough. Because once you do discover you're enough, you're going to charge more maybe for what you do. You're going to ask for higher income raises, because once you realize you're enough, you're more than enough, then you'll get more than enough. You'll be enough. But for most people, that's the real pandemic. The real pandemic is people don't believe they're enough. And because you don't believe you're enough, you don't charge what you're worth. You don't ask the boss to pay you what you believe you're worth. Or you haven't started that business yet because you don't believe you're worthy of, being paid to do it. It's so easy for you. Why would you get paid to do it, right? Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit sunny. That's why I don't want to be squinting the whole time. My name's Steve. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you next time.